And now, it's time for another Dice Tower review with Tom Vasel.
Hey folks, today we're going to be taking a look at the newest expansion for Super Dungeon Explorer! Alright, this expansion is Drakk Manor. This is the adding in the undead to Super Dungeon Explorer. Let's take a look at what they've added. First, we'll take a look at the heroes that come into this expansion. First of all, we have here the Sister of Light, and she's okay. She's a backup character in a sense, or I guess not a backup character, but she's there to help other people out. She has a decent potion. She has Augment, Cross 2, Heal 1, so she can heal other people. And it's good to have a healer in the party to help other folks out. And I guess that's really the whole point of her, but Over here, though, man, the Celestial Herald. Now, this character is really cool, mostly because of their attacks. The arrows strike, where they'll use their dexterity with a spray to be able to spray the ability, and then a Heart Seeker, or a Heat Seeker, basically, to shoot around the corners. And then with the potion, being able to give her aura. It's a cool model, a cool special ability, but really, as cool as that is, pales besides Von Wilding. Now, Von Wilding is possibly the best character in the game, in my opinion, at this point. To the point where I think people will fight over using him. Now, granted, the fact that you can change into a giant werewolf is going to make people want to use him anyway. The fact that he is almost as good, or maybe even better, in his non-werewolf form. Now, obviously, when you're in your werewolf form, you can see that the stats are really high, and they has, just the ability to attack. That's pretty much it, but really high stats. Why Von Wilding has a whip with an extra attack, can pacify the creatures, compel, and has potions that are basically attack potions. Potions that you can use to send after another person, or called offensive potions. They're a new rule that comes in this set, also a new vulnerable, because if you're fighting undead, which this set is all about, Von Wilding is just amazing. So a great character even when you're not fighting undead. This set also comes with more treasure cards that you can add to your deck, which are nice, and also has some more rules that you can add to the dungeon. In particular, there's fog, which makes things harder to shoot, and rooms will rotate with hidden levers. And then there's some special things for our bosses. But now let's take a look at some of the creatures that come with this set. First, we have the Shallow Grave. Now, this is an undead set. So the Shallow Grave is the one that's going to spawn all of your skeletons. And you have skeletons like the Dread Knights and the Boneheads. And these are basically your typical skeletons who will come out. The ones that are knights come out in full armor and are a really cool model, by the way. This is one of my favorite models of the game, I think. And even the skeletons who just have a helmet and stuff. It's nice. I've always been a big fan of using skeletons. These guys are cheap to get out. They're not really that great with special abilities. But when they die, they will leave behind a bone pile token. And you have a necromancer, a Dirt Coven necromancer, who can resurrect these bone piles. And then they become a weaker version of the characters as these rattlebones, which is basically just a skeleton that stands up. But that's still a really neat ability. And then you even have these Dust Mages, which kind of a weird model with a gigantic staff, but they can also raise these piles of bones. So what you're going to do when you're using these groupings is you're just going to be swarming your opponent with skeletons, and they're going to kill the skeletons, but they're going to have these bone piles to deal with. And they can spend a couple action points to take out a bone pile, but that's still going to slow you down. And as you know, in Super Dungeon Explorer, the motto is hurry, hurry, hurry. Now, skeletons may be scary, but I think the pumpkin patch is scarier, if only because of the creatures that come out of it. You have some skull bats that will fly out, and skull bats are, they're more annoying than anything else, but they can make you vulnerable, and they just move around always attacking other people. They're annoyance, but they're an annoyance that can become pretty powerful. The Cursed Coven Witch, and don't be confused by how cute she looks, she is a bad guy. She's going to fly around and attack you, but she also has the ability to turn into a toad, a miserable toad. Basically, that lets her avoid your attacks. These miserable toads are a real pain to try to take them out at all. Then, and we have the Crypt Spider, which is one of the scariest models in the game. Now, maybe that's because I don't like spiders, but this spider, and it's a really cool model. You see it crawling down the wall as it's coming at you. When you see this coming, you'll run because it's really powerful. And while it's your typical spider thing, can shoot webbing and things, and it can't really hurt you, but it's really difficult for you to hurt it also. A pretty cool bad guy. And now the bosses, the Death Spectre, who I thought was the final boss, because this guy is just such a huge model. Look at that. His sword is bigger than your character. If he hits you, you're dead. This guy is not super powerful, just really annoying. He walks around and does 1 damage to you and heals 1 damage to him. He doesn't have to roll for damage. He just hits you and hits you and hits you and hits you, and he's going to keep coming and constantly heal himself. The heroes have to work together to put this guy down, or he will never stop, and he will eventually take out your party. Now, the main bad guy looks a little smaller here, Drakk. He's pretty cool, has some attack and armor and willpower, your typical stats. Nothing that fantastic, although when he shows up, all the bone piles turn into skeletons. So if there's enough of these bone piles around, this guy can be a real pain when he shows up. But even more importantly, he can shapeshift into Nocturne, who, as you can see, is a much more impressive model and can do some real damage. Really powerful attack, a 2/2/2 there at the top with 2 automatic. And he has a terrifying screech, and he can shoot out of a wave and stun everybody. A very annoying, powerful creature. He's not bad by himself, being able to raise the skeletons, but when I play him, I am almost always transferring to Nocturne as quickly as possible to take everybody else out. First of all, I should mention that I put everything in this box here, which is a pretty heavy box now at this point in time, and it's full. So the next expansion, I'm going to have to start keeping them in expansion boxes, but you really get your money's worth from these guys. When I look at these models, these miniatures, and I've been just showing them to you, but I really like how they're one piece now. The original game, it was kind of annoying. I had to glue everything together. No gluing necessary here, and they're pretty durable, and they look good. Yeah, sure, they would look better painted. These are models that are just asking to be painted, but they are a lot of fun, and the purple brings across that undead vibe. I mixed them with the other monsters from the different expansions, and I still think that my Smashing Turtles are my favorite monsters, but I really like the skeletons. They're not as powerful probably as the spider and the witch, but the skeletons, they just keep coming and coming. And the final boss in this game is probably my favorite final boss so far, because of just all you just see him like standing in the middle, raw, with skeletons. Now the heroes are good. Like I said, I think that the werewolf is almost too good, and that people will be fighting over him. But it's great to have lots of variety. As it stands right now, the box is just chock full of stuff. I have this and the first expansion, and there really is a lot of different pieces in the game at this point, with a ton of variety. So I actually say that if you're going to get one expansion for Super Dungeon Explorer, this might be the first one you pick up, because there's, I don't know, the other one with the rocks and the fire is pretty good too. I don't know, get them both. This one's purple, maybe that gives it the edge, but there's still, Soda Pop Miniatures is doing a quality job on the miniatures, and adding this stuff to the game really went flawless. There's a few new rules, a few new things, and I love those attack potions. May they bring more of those to heroes in the future. So, all in all, Drakk Manor.
Thanks so much for watching the Dice Tower videos. Find more great videos and reviews, as well as our top-rated audio podcast at Dicetower.com. You can also find other great shows at Dicetowernetwork.com. I'm Eric Summerer, and you've been watching The Dice Tower. The Dice Tower is sponsored by Cool Stuff Inc., where you can find great games for great prices. Cool stuff in stock. Check them out at coolstuffinc.com.
Shut the door!